G'day folks and welcome back to Sydney Retro MTB. I'm just doing a bike check on Jason McRoy's FSR Team S-Works, but the Downhill Mammoth Mountain Kamikaze edition. So this is part 3 of the Jason McRoy trilogy. I'll link a link in the description below or in the little pop-ups here of all of the videos, but I just thought I'd do a bit of a bike check. To my knowledge, no one in the world has built this replica, and especially all 3 of them together. So it took quite a few years to do this project, and essentially this is the first one that has actually been released on the internet. So it's quite a special bike, and yeah, it's put a lot of time and blood, sweat and tears into it. So this is going to give you a bit of an insight. Now, I'm not going to go through all the spec parts because I have listed every single part on the Vital MTB bike check page. So again, I'll put a link in the description below. Also, there is a video of Jason's actual bike over at Specialized headquarters over in the UK, which Neil Donahue on GMBN did. And actually from that video, I got a couple of extra insights to what parts I needed for this bike. Obviously this bike, well, the actual bike has been at the Melbourne's Classic over in the UK quite a few times. So again, the guys from Specialized HQ have took that down there, along with Neil and John and a few other people who've had their kind of M2s and the normal cross-country FSR, but this is the downhill version. So I'm going to go through a few bits of breakdowns of the bikes, where I've got things from, what you need to do if you actually do want to replicate this as well. Like I say, this is the world's first, so this is an insight for the first time ever on the internet. So I've got some notes here, so I do apologize just for reading off the phone. But yeah, basically we will start with the frame. So I actually had 2 FSR frames. Again, one was built up as the National Champs cross-country version, and I was always going to build the downhill version. The main difference is, and this is actually where the actual accuracy of this bike compared to the others. The other 2 bikes are about 99% accurate or 99.5% accurate with every single part. This is about 90% accurate, and that is purely because parts were custom made for Jason and the race team, like Todd Tanner and all the other guys on there. So they'll never be replicated. So I can't do any more than I've already done, and hence why it's about 95% accurate. So the main thing is I actually bought 2 medium frames, and I never ever thought this rare FSR version would pop up for sale. And basically what makes it rare is this extra long linkage plate. Now the main difference is that Jason's was actually even longer, and it had a bridge across the top, but also this tubing here on the seat tube, like where the silver braze welding is, this is actually on the inside of the frame to make the linkage able to be longer. So again, I would have to get this essentially cut off and then have it silver fillet brazed to the inside, have a custom made plate, which again, unless you're actually at Specialized HQ, you're never going to get the dimensions. So when this actually came up, this is actually going to be the closest linkage plate that you're going to find to Jason's downhill version. So it came up. Now, the actual frame was in a large, so the head tube was a lot bigger, and Jason's is a medium. So it was a large frame. Now, I was going to use it, but basically, even though I've got about 5 or 6 pairs of RockShox Judies, I didn't have any steerer tubes long enough to go into the steerer tube on the frame. So what I did is I used the original medium frame that I already had, but because this extra long linkage, I actually took the size large chainstay and seat stay off the large frame and put it on the medium front triangle. This also allowed me to fit the shock in because of the stroke length was a bit longer as well from the original air shock that came on this. So it actually worked out really, really nice. The geometry has actually stayed the same, but basically it's just elongated the wheelbase. and that's to allow this plate to be fitted on. So quite lucky how I've actually got this, but I will never ever be able to replicate the original. On the frame, I've got some new decals, so the JMC decals, got the team decals, and another specialized one in here off Retro Decals. And also I've got new FSR decals on the back here. Now I do have the main decal here, and obviously you can see this is chipped, and also the S-Works here is a bit chipped. The decals that I got are a couple of millimeters too big, and it just kind of looks a little bit off. So I've actually just kept this as the original. So, but all the other stickers have actually been redone, so that they kind of look pretty new. I'll come on to the shock. Now, again, this is another part that I will never be able to replicate. So apparently, word on the street, Jason had a Fox shock, but it was custom tuned by Rissy. Now, again, I'll never be able to replicate that. But when you actually look at the pictures, it actually looks near enough the same as the 1995 RockShox Super Deluxe. And I had one in the correct stroke length and eyelet length. So this actually fitted on perfectly. Now I took the decal off the top of the Super Deluxe. So obviously it looks just like the Fox Rissy shock. And it did have the adjuster dial on here, but I've actually took that off now because on the pictures of Jason's bikes, there's no actual kind of proper dial. You would use a screwdriver just to go and alter the rebound. But so that's took off just to try and look exactly like Jason's. So that's about it on the frame. So large back end, medium front triangle. Okay, we'll go into the wheels. So again, on some of the other builds from the FSRs and M2s globally, people have tried to replicate them. Again, no one's done this, but Jason uses 32 spoke hubs and rims. So on the DT Huggy, and which is now DT Swiss. So basically, there's about 2 or 3 different types of DT hubs at the time. And again, I've seen people build them up, but they're actually not the right hubs. So these are actually the correct style of hubs. I don't know the exact model number of them, but these are the correct ones. And again, other people have got the hubs and rims, but they're actually the wrong spoke count. So I literally try and do everything to the absolute perfection, like Jason's bike is. Now, again, got new decals on some of the rims that I actually got for all 3 builds off Retro Decals, just because some were a bit broken up. But this is actually new old stock front and rear rims, so it's never been used. The only things I got were the actual Wheelsmith decals there, and by chance, my local bike shop, Steel City Cycles in Thurrool, New South Wales, basically they actually managed to find the official Wheelsmith spokes, which is like unbelievable. So they're actually Wheelsmith spokes, Wheelsmith nipples, and I've got the actual decals exactly the same as what Jason's got. What else did I want to point out? Okay, on the actual wheels as well, again on Neil's video with GMBN, you can see that basically they soldered Jason's spokes on the rear wheel because he was exploding the rims due to the amount of force he was putting down and the actual forces that were going through the rim on the actual race. So I'm not going to solder anything on here, but I have done like a replica of wire wrap on every single spoke, just like he has got. So that took a little bit of time, but again, it's attention to detail and all the little things. Let me just go back to my notes here. Okay, what have we got? Yeah, also as well, just going off pictures and videos and had a little bit of an insider in Specialized who took some pictures. The actual hub orientation, according to where the rim decals are facing, that's all correct as well. So there's certain things in the bike that I wouldn't do. I like to have perfection in a certain way. But yeah, basically I've matched obviously like the actual hub alignment where the decals are on the DT Huggy in accordance to actually where the logos are and valve holes are on the wheel. So this is how precise I'm actually going with trying to get everything absolutely immaculate. Okay, so we've done wheels, we've done forks. Sorry, we've done the rear shock and the frame. Okay, we'll go into the forks now. So these are actually fully restored Rock Duty DHs. Again, we've got the specialized S logo on there, which is from Retro Decals, and because obviously Jason had that on his bike. Now the internals were actually all damaged, and I got new Steed springs off SRP over in America. So they've got brand new spring internals in there. They've been fully serviced, fully restored. I stripped all the paint off and Colour Fuel up in Sydney. They did a respray. Go and check out my video on all the forks that they did on my Rock Duties. They did an amazing job on the paintwork. So fully restored and polished crown and everything like that. So yeah, again, trying to go to that next level of having everything absolutely perfect. Okay, handlebars. This is going to be different to Jason's. This is something that I can't replicate. So Jason had 3-inch Ozonic bars. These are 2.5-inch. Now I don't know if 3-inch were actually manufactured. I can only remember having 2.5 as a kid. And this is all that I could find on the internet. So apparently, again, I've heard word on the street, Jason's were 3-inch and they were custom made. Technically, you can put them in a bar bender and maybe like obviously bend them up and have them as a 3-inch rise. Seeing a couple of the people who were doing the M2 builds where they were actually just buying 3-inch black bars and then putting these Ozonic decals on them, which is a great way of doing it, but they are not Ozonic bars. So I'd rather have official Ozonic bars from 1995, half an inch lower, than actually just getting like a Chinese pair and with no name on them and then just putting some decals on them. But it is a good option. So I'm not paying anyone out for that, but I just want to try and keep the brand Ozonic, and it is an Ozonic bar. So that's something I'll never be able to replicate, really. So this is why the 95% accuracy rate comes into play. The saddle, I actually had a red saddle, a specialized saddle. Now, I saw this saddle on a FSR at the Australian Bike Museum down in Adelaide. I think it's Adelaide. So I saw them a picture in the background, and I was like, guys, this is the saddle I need to kind of complete my trilogy because this was the last build that I did. And there was quite a few to and fro in emails with the guys down there, and actually like kind of sold them a GT frame a few months prior. Love the work they do down there. I can't wait to get down there and see that collection. Nigel Hill also did a really good video of a tour of that place. So I honestly can't wait to go down there one day. It looks unbelievable. Now we came to a deal. Basically, I gave them the red saddle and also a bit of cash, and they actually sold that to me. But it took quite a while for them to let that go because it is very, very rare. But they understood like how important this build was to me and to Jason's family and stuff like that. So good how we've got the actual specialized seat on there. Okay, another little thing on the brakes at the time. I couldn't find any red anodized brakes, the Avid Ultimate brakes, and so I actually got these brakes re-anodized along with all my other builds. So I had to take them to the anodizers. Now this is something that again I would always have everything matching, but Jason had some silver bolts on the back end here, even though everything else is red, and the red on the front. So again, just had to source another pair of Avid Ultimates just to have like a silver tension bolt on here. So that's something that you just got to take note of. Also as well, we have the yellow Gore-Tex cable. This is super rare, so we've got that on there as well. This really goes through me every time I look at this rear mech, this poor rear mech, of how much pull is on it. But I actually did a photo shoot, which I will put the picture in, I'll insert the picture now. I did the original photo shoot with normal chain tension. And then I was like, Jason didn't have it like that. He had it like with so much pull on here. So I actually shortened the chain and took the photos for the actual last video. And I just went back to watch Neil's video on GMBN and I freeze framed one of the clips. And I noticed that Jason wasn't running the normal chain on here that he has on his other bikes. So this is actually a Saks PG chain from France. And I just went on the internet and literally as I looked, there was one for sale in the world at a bike shop in Ireland. And I literally ordered it last week and now I've got the actual chain. So when I did the video, it didn't actually have the correct chain on. I thought it had the same chain as what all the other builds have, but it actually is a Sats PG 8-speed chain, and that's a brand new old stock one. So that actually, I've just installed that this morning, so super stoked to have that. And yes, got to put the tension back on here, and this is screaming out, help me. But anyway, that's how Jason had it. So 56 tooth new old stock specialized chain ring. I've never seen another one for them for sale on the internet, so that's pretty cool. I actually found that. This is quite interesting. This is the first generation AC chain device, Adventure Components. And basically, I saw this on a picture of a GTLTS boomerang, which was in a bike shop down in Melbourne, I think it was. And I said to the owner, I said, can I buy that chain device for this build? And he said, no, but I'll sell you the whole bike. So I obviously had to buy it. So that is going to be another project. Some of you may have seen that a couple of years ago that I've got an LTS boomerang build coming for the channel. But I literally bought that LTS just so I could get this AC chain device. Now, the actual diameter here is a little bit too big. The clamp is a little bit too big. So I have got like a rubber shim inside just to pad it out. But there's nothing else I can do. These are just like rare as rocking horse shit. So that's pretty awesome how I've got that. I was just going to say also as well, to try and get things quite accurate, with me using the medium-sized frame and this correct length steerer tube on the forks, it's allowed me to actually use the correct amount of spacers that Jason had on his stem. So again, I try and go down to the actual minute detail with the headset spacers of how many he actually had. Let me just see if there is anything else that I have missed. Oh yeah, on the Avid Triangle, which is like the brake arch here, the guys have done a little bit of wire at the top of it. So basically if the cable pulls through, then it's not going to fully rip out. So again, attention to detail, got a little wire there. Also at the back of the brace, the fork brace here on the arch, Jason's mechanic, which was Andy Kiffin. I don't know if Andy was actually out at the time for this, but basically he's wrote JMC 80, which possibly is the 80mm travel on the forks. And unbelievably, I sent a photo from the internet to Retro Decals to Gil. He managed to flatten out the image. I got the measurements for the brake arch, and it has come out identical to the actual handwriting, and it's just unbelievable. So I've got like a nice little sticker at the back here. Again, if you go to the Vital MTB page, you will see all these very in-depth photos of all the parts. And actually, if you do go onto that, this doesn't cost you anything. Please hit the green thumbs up to like the bike. That'd be a massive help for me on there. And also, while we're at it, if you're not subscribed, again, subscribing does not cost anyone anything, but it helps the content creator out so much. So please don't forget to subscribe and smash that like button. Try and get the weird YouTube algorithms going, because it's pretty bonkers of what you have to do these days to get noticed on YouTube. So yeah, if you want to support any mountain bike content creator, retro, modern, whatever, hit the subscribe and thumbs up. It doesn't cost you guys a penny. So if you could do that, that would be awesome. The cassette, I see a lot of people who have done the retro builds before on the other bikes. They've got the wrong ratio of cassette. So Jason uses a 1228 XTR M900 titanium cassette there. So again, just to get that ratio of gears correct, everything's got to be right. What else is there? Let's just have a look here. I think that's about it. Again, if you go on to Vital MTB, the actual spec list of all the parts are on here. Neil did a great video, and yeah, this is the bike. So very lucky to have it. But yeah, took a lot of time and effort to find the parts from all over the world, literally all over the world, America, Europe, Australia, New Zealand, like some stuff over in Japan as well, and the UK. So and there's quite a few products on here which are new old stock as well. So actually, I will go through that. So the rims are new old stock. The chainring is new old stock. The XTR M900 quick release is new old stock. What else? The actual stem was new old stock. The bars are new old stock. And the actual Onza Yules are new old stock as well. So they came in packaging and everything like that. There is actually one other thing that I forgot is got the Grip Shift 800 X-Ray here, 8-speed. I had to source a new old stock shark tooth green grip there. So again, that's new old stock as well. It doesn't come as standard like that. But yeah, check out all the other parts. Got the Diacomp headset, Control Tech stem, Avid speed dial levers, full XTR pretty much. Everywhere else, XTR bottom bracket, that's new old stock. Yeah, so very proud of the build, and obviously Jason actually was an idol of mine. He actually passed away fairly close to where I used to live, and as a 14-year-old, I was absolutely devastated to hear the news. After seeing him in the dirt videos and in all the mountain biking UK magazines, he has been my idol my whole life, and it kind of shook the mountain bike community and shook all my mates up pretty bad at the time, because he was just the poster boy of the UK downhill, and he was an absolute legend, and he did a lot for the sport. So I've always wanted to replicate all three of his bikes. Never thought it would be possible, but I've done it now. So yeah, apart from the fully customized things, it's identical to Jason's bike. So yeah, fairly special one. Well, look, I know it's a long video. Thanks for watching. Again, please don't forget to subscribe, smash the thumbs up button, share the video around. Again, do that for all content creators that you watch. Like it helps us out quite a lot. So, but we'll see you in the next build. But thank you very much for your time. Cheers. Bye bye.